Good morning, everyone. I invite you all to stand as our presiding elder, Mr. Ashford Tambi, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, leads us in our opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Let us all come to God in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you through your Son, Christ Jesus, giving you all glory, all thanks, and all praise, dear God, for this day that has dawned upon us. We ask for your blessings upon each and every one of us, dear God, all the children gathered here this morning, dear Father, their parents, their teachers, their school supervisors, members of the Presbyterian Primary School Board of Education, and the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago. Heavenly Father, continue to watch over these children. Continue to give them that guidance, that wisdom and protection. Be with us now and always, dear God, for we ask this through your Son, Christ Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land, we pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Please have your seats. The Right Reverend Daniel Chance, moderator of the Synod of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Wilson Henderson, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Mr. Aaron Ramratan, Director of School Supervision and Management, Ministry of Education, School Supervisors of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Dexter Rampasad, School Supervisor 1, Ministry of Education, and our feature speaker today, Mr. Ashford Tambi, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Reverend Karen Kellawan, Principal, St. Andrew's Theological College, members of the clergy of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Roy Omra, Chairman, Presbyterian Secondary Schools Board of Education, officers and members of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, principals and teachers, parents and guardians, most importantly, our awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a pleasant good morning to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you the chairpersons of today's S.E.A. 2024 awards function. The first individual is the Vice Principal Acting of the Pinal Presbyterian Primary School. He comes with 32 years of experience in the field of education and has played a significant role as HOD and now Vice Principal. He possesses a Master's of Education degree, his Bachelor's degree in Education, and his Teacher's Diploma. This esteemed gentleman is known for his accomplishments and contributions as Assistant Secretary, organist, guitarist, and choir leader at the Grant Memorial Esperance Presbyterian Church of the La Romaine-Debe Pastoral Region. He is also an active member of the Presbyterian National Sports Committee, coordinator of scoring and tallying on Sports Day. We are truly fortunate to have Mr. Daniel Gopal with us today to steer this event. It is my privilege also to introduce the second chairperson of today's event. Ms. Sherry-Ann Bissou is a highly respected teacher at the Canaan Presbyterian Primary School for the past 10 years. This dedicated professional has 29 years of service and has a remarkable background as S.E.A. teacher for 16 of those years. Ms. Bissou is a member of the Rio Claro Presbyterian Church and is also a tutor at the Mayaro Homework Center. A passionate advocate for positive change, she has been an inspiration to many through her commitment, hard work, and leadership. Please join me in welcoming our chairpersons, Mr. Daniel Gopal and Ms. Sherry-Ann Bissou, to guide us through today's proceedings.
A blessed good morning, and thank you to Ms. Sophia Bipat Nathai, Principal of Princestown Presbyterian No. 2, for her kind introduction. Mr. Daniel Gopal and I are indeed quite appreciative of such. The Right Reverend Daniel Chance, Moderator of the Synod of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Wilson Henderson, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Mr. Aaron Ramratan, Director of School Supervision and Management, Ministry of Education, School Supervisors of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Dexter Rampasad, School Supervisor 1, Ministry of Education, and our feature address speaker, Mr. Ashford Tambi, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Reverend Karen Kalawan, Principal, St. Andrew's Theological College, members of the clergy of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Roy Umrao, Chairman, Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, officers and members of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, principals and teachers, parents and guardians, our esteemed awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a pleasant good morning. On behalf of my co-chair, Mr. Gopal, and I, it is indeed our esteemed privilege to welcome you and guide you through this S.E.A. 2024 awards function of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, hosted by the Primary Schools Board of Education, as we gather to celebrate not only academic excellence, but also hard work, resilience, and determination that each of our awardees has displayed. Today, the Presbyterian Church recognizes our top S.E.A. 2024 students among our 72 Presbyterian primary schools. You have completed your exams with integrity and purpose. I urge you to remember that the true value of success is not just in recognition, but also in growth, discipline, and the character you have developed along the way. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Proverbs 16, verse 3. This verse reminds us that as we strive for success, we should seek guidance beyond our own understanding. With faith and commitment, your paths will be made firm, and here we stand today, a testament to this. Congratulations to all of you, and we are excited to see where your next steps will lead you. Do enjoy the rest of our ceremony, and I now invite my co-chair, Mr. Gopal.
The Right Reverend Daniel Chance, moderator of the Synod of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Wilson Henderson, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Mr. Aaron Ramerton, Director of School Supervision and Management, Ministry of Education, School Supervisors of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Dexter Rampasad, School Supervisor 1, Ministry of Education, and our feature address speaker, Mr. Ashford Tamby, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Reverend Karen Kilawan, Principal, St. Andrew's Theological College, members of the clergy of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Roy Umrao, Chairman, Presbyterian Secretary, Presbyterian Secondary Schools Board of Education, officers and members of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, principals and teachers, parents and guardians, awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a warm and cordial welcome to S.E.A. Awards 2024, hosted by the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education. I am indeed honored and privileged to co-host this year's function. Henry W. Longfellow once wrote, and I quote, "The heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night." Today, as a Presbyterian community, we recognize, we celebrate the discipline, dedication, hard work, and success of our students, and by extension, our teachers and principals. As we move into today's program, just a couple of house announcements. One, in the event of an emergency, you will hear a warning alarm. Kindly proceed in a calm, orderly manner through the exit doors located on my left and on my right, as well as through the front door located behind you to the muster areas in the car park, the lower car park and the car park located on my left. The washrooms are located at the back of the building next door. You can proceed through the door on my left and walk down to the side of the building where you will see the sign washroom. We would appreciate very much if you can place your phones on silent or vibrate mode for the duration of today's proceedings. At this time, I'd like to call Ms. Geeta K. Maharaj, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, to bring greetings, and this will be followed by greetings from Mr. Aaron Ramratan, Director of School Supervision and Management, Ministry of Education. I now invite Ms. Maharaj to the podium.
Our masters of ceremony and the persons of our co-chairs, Mr. Daniel Gopal and Ms. Sherry Ann Bisu, moderator of the Synod of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Wilson Henderson, our DPS, who will be here a little later and whom I'm sure we will pause to recognize, Mr. Aaron Ramratan, Director of School Supervision and Management, Ministry of Education, and the school supervisors of the Ministry of Education. Our feature address speaker, Mr. Dexter Rampasad, our School Supervisor 1 from St. George East. Mr. Tambi, General Secretary, and sir, we are thankful that you are here this morning because we know that you have to leave us very soon for another engagement at the Southeastern Presbytery. Reverend Kerlawan, I believe, is out of the country. Members of the clergy of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago. I did not see Mr. Umrah, but I hope he's here, and if he isn't, well, he'll be here soon. He's the chair of the Presbyterian Secondary Schools Board. Officers, members, colleagues of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board, principals, teachers, parents, guardians, caregivers, all who are here this morning, our awardees, of course, our guests of honor, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, a very, very good morning to all. This morning, the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education feels proud and privileged to host yet another S.E.A. awards function, having had our first in 2022. This is our third in a row. We as a board feel the need to celebrate excellence. You see, through giving awards, we make people take notice. And it brings recognition, prestige, and credibility to the achievements and to the achievers. Awarding excellence promotes honest and healthy competition among our Presbyterian primary schools, and also our students, and of course, other segments of the educational community. By awarding excellence, the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education shows its support for education, encourages the quest for excellence, and most certainly to motivate. Excellence is important in life. Now, an integral category of the board's repertoire of awards is special awards. The purpose and passion for celebrating excellence in this category is because the board believes that it fosters a mindset of growth and it encourages students to see challenges as opportunities for learning rather than threats. It promotes resilience and adaptability, qualities that are crucial to success and personal satisfaction. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education congratulates principals, teachers, parents, guardians, caregivers, all others who have some and who influenced to bring us to this point today, and especially, of course, the students among us, our guests of honor, on the achievements of excellence. I leave you with the words of the Greek philosopher Aristotle. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. So today, awardees, the board is celebrating you Because we acknowledge that hard work pays off, best efforts should be rewarded, and that you made high expectations a part of your everyday life. May you also remember to make God part of your everyday life. Thank you.
The Right Reverend Daniel Chance, moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, school supervisors of the Ministry of Education, and if I may, can you all just stand a minute, all school supervisors who are present? All right. I'm being a bit biased here because I just want to tell you that these are the people that make me look good, so you can have a seat. Mr. Dexter Rampersad, School Supervisor 1, and our featured speaker for today, Mr. Ashford Tambi, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Reverend Karen Kilawan, Principal of St. Andrew's Theological College, members of the clergy of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Roy Umrao, Chairman of the Presbyterian Secondary Schools Board of Education, officers and members of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, principals and teachers, parents and guardians, and our special invitees, our awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is indeed a pleasure as the Director of School Supervision and Management, Ministry of Education, to be invited today to this award function. And I must congratulate you for having this and the importance of giving recognition to these well-deserved students for their academic achievements. I just want to say every year, and it's an annual thing, when you get your S.E.A results, a number of things happen. We have a lot of students who are very, very happy and overjoyed because they get their first choice schools, and that's a big thing. Because also all of the Ministry of Education will give you 4 choices. The most important one is the first choice. And then we have parents and children who are not so happy because they did not get their first choice schools. Okay? And 2 things happen. Some of them may ask for a review of their marks. And that's a good thing because sometimes the review would raise their score to the point where they can actually change their choice of school. So that's a plus. And then we have the next opportunity of applying for a transfer. And there's where we have over 2,500 applications wanting a transfer. And they come back to now with their first choice schools that they did not get. So we try our best at the Ministry of Education because we look at a number of things, not just merit, to help children in terms of transfers. And although the new academic year would have started in September, we are still in the process of seeing where we can help. And I want to tell you, I think we would have done almost 900 transfers from those applications, okay? So we try our best to help our students, and by extension, the parents who are also most worried. I don't have to tell you what's happening right now in terms of the atmosphere out there and the social media and what's very forefront happening and what our school supervisors and the Ministry of Education are facing right now. Okay? Certain infractions coming to the fore, and really we are swamped. We are swamped with this particular one that parents are going to social media. Some of that we would have already resolved at the primary school level and the secondary school level, but yet they are opening it up back again. Okay? And something would have led to that. And this is the challenge when you are a principal and even school teacher. How do you manage these things? And how do you manage some of the students that you have where their behavior is not where you would like it to be? And how do we treat with that? And I'm hearing a word that I want to stress a little more on here, and that word is resilience. The importance of resilience, and how do we build that in our students? And it's not just limited to students alone, okay? Reducing the effect of resilience, if you want to build resilience, reducing the effect of significant adversity on children's healthy development is essential to the progress and prosperity of any society. That's how important it is. Science tells us that some children develop resilience or the ability to overcome serious hardship, while others don't. So it's not just a given. If you look at a scale, a balanced scale, on one side we can have protective experiences and coping skills. And on the other side, you can have significant adversity. And this is what children experience. And they can be at either side of the scale. Resilience in children is evident when a child's health and development tip towards the positive outcome. And that's what we want to see. And that is where these students would have been able to show in attaining those academic accomplishments. One of the key factors with regards to resilience is committed relationship, where a child can have with a supportive parent, a caregiver, or an adult. And the adult in a school environment will most definitely be the school teacher, okay? And by extension, the principal. The foundation of resilience, and there are some key things here, but the foundation one is a combination of supportive relationships. And we need to build that at all levels, because we are social people. We interact with the principal, with the teacher, and amongst your peers. Adaptive skill building. How can you adapt to really develop your coping skills? And positive experiences. And this is what you want to build in a school environment. Positive experiences. Children exposed sometimes to prolonged periods of toxic stress. How do we see that? Is it visible? Can we recognize it? And sometimes when you see children who are displaying the behavior that you don't want, how do we really get to understand the triggers behind it to really help them? Learning to cope with manageable threats is critical for development of resilience. And how do we know when a child is under some sort of threat? When they complain to you for something. And how do we manage that? I just want to tell you that resilience can be strengthened at any age. So I'm saying resilience not just for students, but also for adults as well. Because we can have parents who can pass on certain stress to their children. We can have teachers coming to work, but their mindset, they are very heavy, and students can pick up certain things. But sometimes when it looks physically normal, but things are really not normal, how do we really get to that point? And that is very important. And for a school environment more in particular. And I want to introduce a word here called trauma, because sometimes children experience trauma. And it could be a buildup of other things happening at the home. But one little thing in school could tip the balance on the significant adversity, and it can lead to a level of reaction that we don't want. And how do we manage that? And I'm saying these things to you because it is not just in the school environment of doing a referral to student support services division. It involves all of us. Mental Health Week, we experienced Mental Health Day just recently. how do we really get more into that? But there is good news because there are things we can do, and we need to know how to really apply these as best as possible to help our students. Self-regulation skills. How do we get to that point where even though we are at some stress level, we can find ourselves out of it, or we can find ourselves coping? Stress reduction practices. We have to be able to do some of that. And there are programs we can use to also treat with that, so that we can, at the end of it all, really model healthy behavior, because that is what we want. And probably this is something we may need to take at a higher level, where we can talk more about building a resilient school, because that resilience in a school environment is also very important. So we have students who are happy, they can truly apply themselves, because I'll tell you, adversity will always hit us in some way, in some form. Everything can be going good at the home at one point, and it can just change with one simple thing. And this is how important it is and how critical it is with respect to our role as a principal, as teachers, and as parents. So again, I congratulate you on the success. Continue to build yourselves, and we will continue to work with you from the ministry's end. And of course, best wishes to all our schools, and more so the fraternity of Presbyterian schools, because we know the road ahead is a very challenging one, but one in which if we really support each other, we can make it a little easier in terms of coping. Thank you. God bless.
As we continue with our greetings, I now call to the podium our moderator of the Synod of the Presbyterian Church of Trinidad and Tobago, the Right Reverend Daniel Chance. Rev.
In the interest of time, I use a term that a former Archbishop Anthony Pantin used regularly, my dear brothers and sisters. As we assemble within the hallowed walls of this church, we affirm our commitment to preach, teach, and lead by example. For those of us who are familiar with Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 11, hear what the word says. Christ chose some of us to be apostles, prophets, missionaries, pastors, and teachers. Teachers, you have been called and appointed. You have been set apart by God for your sacred rule. When I use the word teachers, school supervisors, you were once there? Yes? Mr. Ramlal, I know you were there, and so many others. You have been called, appointed, and set apart by God for this sacred rule. Teachers, you have been merging or fusing your years of training and experience along with your knowledge of the Word of God to assist students. And as you continue to assist them, they would grow before your very eyes into maturity as they read, analyze, express themselves, and trust in God. To all our students, we place the church, we place an enormous amount of value upon you.
your caring and loving parents, grandparents, siblings, teachers, and friends. We have been clearing the pathway for you to walk, for you to travel, for you to grow. With God's help, you have studied, wrote your S.E.A, excel academically. Indeed, one chapter of your academic journey has drawn to a close. With much help, guidance, and support, a firm foundation has been established. Students, continue to build on that foundation. To the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, I challenge you to continue to promote excellence in education. Today's awards ceremony bears testament of this as a result of hard work and dedication of teachers and principals within our primary schools. Yes, many lives have been nurtured and fashioned, thus allowing young men and women to be well positioned in life today. The Church recognizes the contribution made and the service rendered by the board. Our 72 Presbyterian schools, as well as other stakeholders, you continue to nurture and fashion the tender minds in your midst. At the beginning of this new academic year, on September 10th, the board embraced with open arms the introduction of Values for Life program, where teachers will be better equipped. And to my parishioner and friend, Mr. Ramratan, you are correct. How can we as a church help our children to build that resistance, to be resilient, to be caregivers, to love and to care for one another? Students, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, your siblings have indicated to you that you are valuable. Yes? You are precious. You belong to God. Yes, I use this opportunity to challenge you. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. As someone who is loved by God, transmit that love to your fellow students. On behalf of the Synod of the Presbyterian Church, I extend greetings to the board and to all those who assemble. Blessings to all.
Ms. Maharaj, Mr. Ramratan, and our Right Reverend Daniel Chance, we thank you for your greetings as we celebrate and encourage our S.E.A 2024 top performers. At this point, as we continue to showcase the many talents within our Presbyterian primary schools, I now invite Ms. Gori Cleaver Nanan who will be bringing to us a song, and she is the Principal Primary Acting of the Exchange Presbyterian School. Miss Nanan.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost in no direction. My fate is shaking, but I gotta keep trying, gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on, 'cause there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. There's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nanan, for that melodious and inspirational singing. At this time, I invite Ms. Wendy Gajda, Vice Chairman of the S.E.A 2024 Awards Committee, who will introduce to us our featured speaker.
A pleasant good morning to everyone. It is a great privilege and honor to introduce our esteemed featured speaker today, Mr. Dexter Rampersad. Allow me to share with you some insights into the remarkable journey of this distinguished gentleman. Mr. Dexter Rampersad is a proud product of the Presbyterian education system, having obtained the foundation of his academic journey at Tacarigua Presbyterian Primary School and Hillview College. His dedication to education is evident in his career, where he served as a Standard 5 teacher at San Juan and Tacarigua before being promoted to principal at the Tinapuna Presbyterian School. In his quest for spiritual knowledge, he pursued theological studies at the St. Andrew's Theological College, where he now serves as a member of the board of directors. As a devoted member of the Presbyterian Church, Mr. Rampersad holds the post as the vice chairman of the St. Joseph Presbyterian Church and is a respected lay preacher at a national level, delivering inspiring messages across the country. Mr. Rampersad's academic achievements are both diverse and commendable. He holds 2 bachelor's degrees in history and political science, as well as a Bachelor of Education. As a lifelong learner, he pursued further studies and earned a master's in educational administration. He currently serves as School Supervisor 1 in the St. George East Education District, where his expertise and leadership continue to make a significant impact. Well-versed in educational best practices, Mr. Rampersad is highly regarded by his colleagues and superiors at the Ministry of Education for his outstanding contribution. Beyond his professional life, Mr. Rampersad is a passionate advocate for the vulnerable and has served on the boards of 2 NGOs that assist battered women and terminally ill children. He is also an active member of the Cancer Society. His unwavering commitment to service, leadership, and education embodies the essence of a true servant leader and a powerful advocate for positive change. We are truly honored to have such a distinguished individual to address us today. Without further ado, please join with me in welcoming our esteemed featured speaker, Mr. Dexter Rampersad.
I would like to thank my sister Wendy for that glowing introduction. I must say at one point I was looking around to see who the featured speaker was. I would ask you all to allow me to begin with saying all protocols having been established. And today it's about these young ones, the awardees that we have called forward today in acknowledging their accomplishments, their brilliance, their hard work. But you all have been a bit passive for a little while. I want everyone, look at the person next to you, tell them you're happy to see them, tell them God bless you, give them a smile at least. If nobody is next to you, talk to yourself. You are in church, people will think you're talking to God. So good morning again, or as I like to call it, the part of the day where I try to sound smarter than I really am. But you guys look amazing. 6 weeks in your new schools, different environment, different setting. At this junction, you've probably figured out how many snacks you can consume while sitting and pretending to read a textbook. You've probably discovered the classic study method known as, I'm going to Google it. Or maybe you are even experimenting with ChatGPT and other forms of AI. Huh? As one comedian said, the adults in our society prove to you that artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity. You guys are the hope for our future in this country, okay? But this morning, I am going to go pretty much off script, and I'm doing that with all of my bosses here and the big boss himself. Because I had a very different talk planned for you all, a very different motivational speech, but yet recent events which have all monopolized the media, causing parents, students, and teachers some concerns, some worries, triggered their fears, anxieties, emotional turmoil, and it has probably caused some sleepless nights. You're in a new school, you are in a new setting. As the Star Wars movies say, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was once in your shoes. But let me break it down for you all to understand it. You see, I was extremely short, so some things haven't changed, all right? I had a haircut where my family members took turns practicing barbering on my head. That too has not changed. And my hair at that point, it was styled very fashionably with coconut oil. My nickname was Hazley Crapplefoot because of the way I ran. So when I went to my new school, I was not a happy camper because it was like I had a bullseye on my back. I got there and I wanted my old teacher, I wanted my old primary school. There was nothing I seemed to like about this new school. So I did the only thing that seemed to make sense at that time. I was watching TV and there seemed to be a strategy to handle these things. And I decided that I was going to try to give the school a bomb scare. I saw it once on TV. They said, don't attempt this at home. So I wasn't going to try it at home. I was going to try it at school. So I went to the one payphone in the school and I used my last 25-cent coin. Put it in, dialed the number, tried to put on a Batman voice, and I thought that it had worked. To my surprise, the school was given an early dismissal. I was unaware at that time that a variety of different things could cause it, like no water, electrical problems. But I felt that I had some kind of control. So the next day I went back after it and I decided that worked really well one day. We went home early, I'm going to try this again. At that point I didn't seem very bright because the one payphone was situated outside the staff room of the school. So I made my call, and as I finished and was hanging up, I saw several teachers looking out of this little peep window that was right next to the phone, and they said, look, the midget trying to shut down the school with a phone that's not working. Guys, at that junction, it was for me, if at first you don't succeed, failure just might be my style, all right? But you know, I want to talk to you all about something that seems to hit us whenever we get into a new environment, a feeling of loneliness. It's a strange concept that seems to creep up upon you. It's like the man who complains he joined a loneliness therapy group, but nobody seemed to show up. What will the next 7 years mean to you all? What will the next 7 years of your lives mean to you? Poets write, and they use this expression, no man is an island. And your astounding accomplishment in the examinations, why we are acknowledging you all, it should enable you all to be a part of a community which enables our culture to be transformed into one of care, one of comfort, one of courage, one of compassion. But you know, there's an Italian proverb that is used. We are born crying, we live complaining, and we die disappointed. So let me ask you all a question. Imagine you had a special bank account. Picture that for a minute, a special bank account. And in this bank account, every morning you received $86,400. Every morning, $86,400 deposited into your account. The account carries over no balance from day to day. It allows you to keep no cash balance. And every evening it cancels out whatever part of the amount you had failed to use during the day. What would you do? Obviously, we would all try to draw out every dollar every day. And we all have such a bank. That bank is called time. Every morning, that bank credits you with 86,400 seconds. Every night, it writes off whatever time you have failed to use wisely. It carries over no balance from day to day. It allows no overdraft, so you can't borrow against yourself. You cannot use more time than you actually have. Each day, that account starts fresh. Each night, it destroys any unused time. If you fail to use the day's deposits, it's your loss, and you can't appeal, you can't get it back. There's never any borrowing time. You can't take a loan out on your time or against someone else's. The time you have is the time you have, and that's all. Time management. For all you young adults on this journey of secondary education, time management is yours to decide how you spend the time. Just as with money, you decide how you are going to spend it. It is never the case of us not having enough to do the things, but the case of whether we want to do them and where they fall in our priorities. So you're in your new school and you have all this time. We're looking at 7 years. And while we know that each and every one of you here today, those of you who have been invited and you've come back, you are all going to excel academically. There's no doubt. We are not questioning that. But I want you to ask yourselves one thing. How will you in that time, how will you in the next 7 years play your part to build the community, to transform, to shape, to mold the culture of those schools? You see, there are 3 benefits derived from working and supporting each other in your new schools, in playing a part to forge the community, a community of unity, harmony, belonging, tolerance, resilience. The school community within which you reside should offer to you and all of those around you support, strength, and spiritual warmth. Let's talk a bit about support. There's an African proverb that says the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. You see, many times people tell you 2 people working together are better than 1 because if one person falls down, the other is there to help them up. But we live in a culture where if someone falls down, what is the first thing people do? They grab their cell phones, the cell phones come out, the social media lights up, and the memes go viral. We live in a paparazzi culture where we don't see if the person is injured, but we check to place ourselves to take selfies, and we comment and place our hashtags because basically you all are inheriting a culture of cruelty. There's a little story, a little anecdote about a 24-year-old boy who was traveling with his father, and he was looking out of the windows of a train and he was shouting, "Dad, look at the trees, they are all going behind us." And the father simply smiled. The boy was 24 years. And the young couple sitting nearby, they looked at the 24-year-old childish behavior, and they looked with pity. And suddenly the boy again exclaimed, "Dad, look at the clouds, they are running with us." And the couple couldn't resist, and they said to the father, "Why don't you take your son to a good doctor?" And the man smiled and the father said, "I did. We are now coming from the hospital. My son was blind from birth. He just got his sight today." In your new community where you all have been placed, where you have worked so hard to be, you have the power to transform the culture, to recognize that every single person there has a story, that you should not judge people before you truly know them, whether they stutter, whether they limp, whether they seem nerdy. You have the power within your hands to give that needed support, because their challenges may surprise you. Support means appreciating that everyone, including yourselves, all have flaws. An old man lived in a small hut, and every day he would tote 2 pots, carrying them with water down to the river and then bringing the pots back with water to his house. One of the pots had a hole, it was cracked, but the man would always hold the pot in his left hand. By the time he reached home, the pot would be about quarter filled. And a little child, one of the neighbor's children, observing the man's repeated actions, he asked the man, "Why do you carry that broken pot?" And the man smiled and said, "There are 2 reasons for that. My left hand is weak, so I can't carry the heavy pot if it's filled entirely in my left hand. And the other reason is the path where I walk gets watered every day when I bring this pot back." He pointed to the path, and the child saw that the walkway was green, filled with beautiful flowering plants, while the other side was barren. What's the lesson we learn from that? As you mature, you may feel compelled, there may be a peer pressure on you to highlight what we see, what we perceive as flaws in those whom we meet, those whom we interact, those whom we may choose to target for our own, oftentimes misguided pleasure. Supporting means recognizing everything and everyone fulfills a purpose. We might think of something as useless because we perceive it as flawed, but it serves a bigger purpose in the grand scheme of things. When we think about strength, we always hear that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. I am someone who likes to read the newspapers, not the digital newspapers, the old-time papers that blacken your fingers and you have to spread it out on a table. And I do the adult thing when I get a newspaper. I turn to the comic section. And if it's Guardian, I try to find Snoopy, Peanuts, Charlie Brown. Because 2 characters that I love in that cartoon, it's Lucy and Linus, the brother and sister, where the sister seems to take advantage of the little brother. And there was one caption where Linus had the TV remote and Lucy walks in and takes it away from him, very violently. And Linus decides, for the first time, I'm going to stand up for myself. And he says, "You can't do that." And then Lucy looks at him and she says, "You see this palm? You see this palm of my hand? See these fingers? Individually, they are nothing. But when I curl them together, it becomes a force to be reckoned with." And Linus simply asks, "Okay, what channel did you want to look at?" And as she walks away, he looks at his own palm, the palm of his hand, and he says, "Why can't you guys get organized like that?" Guys, cultural transformation impresses upon us to help to build the strength of those around us, to build the strength of the school community that you are now in. Greek mythology always speaks of Achilles, a great warrior, who when leading his army, he encouraged them never to try to defend individually by yourselves. Rather, each soldier should stand shoulder to shoulder in a circular fashion, interlocking their shields and becoming an impenetrable force. They realized, and you have to do the same in your new school community, united we stand, divided we fall. You have to encourage your classmates to realize that life is not about how many times you get knocked down, but about how hard you can get hit and keep getting up. There was a man who was down on his luck, and his only skill seemed to be able to prepare a basic home meal, which his family seemed to like. One day he decided he was going to try something. He was going to sell his recipe to any restaurant that was willing to purchase. He borrowed $87 from the bank. He purchased a fryer. He purchased ingredients that he needed, and he started traveling all over the country, they agree, to sell his recipe. He got rejected 1,009 times. everyone's saying no one would want to eat that meager, basic, substandard meal. He decided he was going to try one more time. The 1,010th customer that he went to purchased and made him an offer. This man then developed 11 herbs and spices, and his business grew steadily over the next few decades into the creation of a little restaurant. I don't know if some of you all might know it, that's called Kentucky Fried Chicken. Anybody here likes KFC? Am I the only one? That 1,010th person saved us all on a hungry evening, okay? You see, this story portrays perseverance and determination, even in the face of numerous setbacks, obstacles. Just at the point of giving up, one person gave him the strength to continue with his dream. And there will be moments in your future when the stress of teenage growth, the insecurities of young adulthood, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, when your peers will appear beaten, bruised, and battered, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Are you going to berate them even more in those weak moments? Would you like others to do this to you? In the community, in your school community, you must show individual strength, resilience. You are called to be your brother and sister's keeper, and you must identify the moments one of your friends will be in need of your strength. You must have the fortitude to speak out. When you see an ill, when you see a wrong, you have the strength to step forward. In 1786, Edmund Burke said, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men fail to do anything." And centuries later, we realize it's still applicable. So support and strength. Let's just talk on the last point. You hear about school spirit. You in the community, you have to foster that spiritual warmth with your peers. The world is a mirror and it reflects who we are as a person. You ever realize there are some people that you meet who by their actions, their speech, and even the look on their face, they will brighten a room by leaving it? One day, two young men went to a guru. A guru is a wise man, not a smart man, a wise man. And the two men had left their town and they were traveling, and they went to this guru, and the first young man, he's asked by the guru, "What is the purpose of your journey?" And the man said, "I hated the town where I lived. Everyone in the town is selfish. I had a rough time in that town. I am leaving that town to find better opportunities." And the guru told him that he would never find such a town anywhere in the world, and he said that he should stop that journey there. The second man was asked the same question, and he looked at the guru, he looked at the wise man, and he said, "I love my hometown. I decided to leave to see new places, to add to my experiences, to grow. I want to work in different places and learn new things." The guru looked at him and he said, "You can continue your journey. You will find purpose wherever you go." And it's a beautiful story to illustrate that the world holds a mirror to each and every one of us. If we look at things in a negative light, we are only going to see negatives. If we look at things in a positive light, the world will be a bright and positive place in which we can learn and grow. There's a story of a teenage student who decided he wasn't going to school. He felt like he didn't belong, no one seemed to like him, he was just going to stay away. And he started staying away and finally decided not to attend school anymore. One cold day, the principal arrived at his home and asked the parents for permission to speak with the boy. He wanted to see what was the problem. And the principal met him sitting in front of a fire made of raging coals, red-hot coals. And the student expected to be scolded, he expected to get a tongue lashing, he expected maybe to be threatened with police intervention. Instead, the principal sat with him, watching the fire and saying nothing, not a word. Finally, after a few minutes, the principal took her thongs and removed one of the red-hot, raging coals from the fire. He placed it on the ground by itself. And just as you would expect, in no time, that coal, that one coal, that single coal, it stopped being that glowing red color. It darkened and it became cold, black. It lost its glow. The boy looked at the principal without a word being said, and he said, "Tomorrow I'm going to be in school." You see, in your school community, it fans the flames within you. You all have to keep each other enthusiastic, excited, and eager. You have to keep that school spirit spiritually warm for each other. And that can only be done by ensuring that no one is alienated or made to feel rejected. Each of you, regardless of your religious persuasion, you have been blessed to attend your respective primary schools. The legacy of the Presbyterian schools, it goes well beyond its pursuit of academic excellence. It goes beyond the dedicated teachers, many of whom have been your second parents. In its efforts to assist with cultural transformation and creation of communities at your schools, the Presbyterian Church has developed two publications, Where Do You Stand? And Stop Bullying in Our Schools. Both the church and the Presbyterian Board advocate in any instances for thorough investigations and for necessary actions to be taken upon those who attempt to advantage others physically, emotionally, and mentally. The Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education ensures that within its schools you are imbibed with the positive values of care, compassion, comfort, charity, and courage, values that you have taken to your respective secondary schools. But there's one more C word we want to add there. You have been part of a loving community. You have to take that essence of community now to where you sit, to where you stand. Your new communities are no longer new to you, for you've been there for a little while, and you're going to be there for, as they say, the long haul. Present moments will become cherished memories if you do your part in building communities, in transforming cultures into that which support, strengthen, and provide that spiritual warmth. I'm going to close with 3 proverbs. So if you remember anything that I've said this morning, forget the rest, but remember these. And I want you to think how these impact on your life, your school life, your future. The first one, no matter how high a bird flies, it must come down for water. The second, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. And the third one, after the chess game, the king and the pawn go into the same box. I thank you all.
Mr. Rampersad, I'd invite you to please make your way back to the front. Thank you, sir. And at this time, I'd like to call on Ms. Anicia Bawan, the principal of Tacarigua Presbyterian, as she would make a presentation to you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Bowen. So earlier on, we were graced with the talents of one of our acting principal primary, and now you will experience the talents from amongst our student population. I now invite Ms. Caitlin Samuel, who is a former student of the Cura Presbyterian School and a member of Knox Presbyterian Church. She currently attends Naparima Girls High School and is enrolled at Seraphic Strings. Caitlin placed second in the National Strings Festival 2023 for her violin solo in the 9 to 11 age category. She is also pursuing her Grade 2 theory exam with the ABRSM, which stands for Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music in the United Kingdom. I now invite Miss Caitlin.
Thank you very much, Caitlin, for that wonderful rendition on the violin. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we turn our attention to our esteemed awardees. I now invite the chairman of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, Mr. Vikram Ramlal, who would take us through the presentation of awards.
Good morning, everyone. This morning, the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education will be presenting awards in a number of categories. The first set of awards will be for the top 5 students in each educational district. We are looking at 6 educational districts, and the top 5 students, based on their composite scores, will receive awards. Following that, we will give special awards to students who, despite certain circumstances, overcome these challenges and did well in their exams. We will then move to the top 20 students among all our 72 schools, and then our top 3 performing schools. To take us through our first set of awards, I will invite Mr. Brendan Ramlal, acting principal of the S.E.A Road Presbyterian School, to invite the persons who are making the presentation and the students who are to receive their awards.
A pleasant good morning to everyone, and the moment that we have all been waiting for, where we celebrate our students, teachers, parents, all the stakeholders who had a part to play in preparation for this 2024 exams, and it starts all the way from preschool first year all the way to standard 5. So all teachers who would have had that part to play. So we begin with the Carney Education District, where we award the top 5 students amongst our Presbyterian primary schools. And to assist with the presentation of these awards, I invite Mrs. Nirmala Chinibas Dindyal, School Supervisor 1 from the St. Patrick Education District, to assist with the presentation of certificates. And I invite Ms. Vidya Ramchala, School Supervisor 2 from the Carney Education District, to assist with the distribution of trophies. In 5th position in the Carney Education District, amongst Presbyterian primary schools, we have Reese Ramuta from Warrenville Presbyterian School. In 4th position, Caleb Walton, Exchange Presbyterian. In 3rd position, Ethan Ali, Exchange Presbyterian. In 2nd position, Ciara Bisnat, Exchange Presbyterian. And in 1st position amongst Presbyterian primary schools in the Carney Education District, Liam Rajkumar, Freeport Presbyterian. Thank you very much, Mrs. Chinibas Dindyal and Ms. Ramchala. We move on to the Northeastern Education District, and to assist with the distribution of awards, I invite Mr. Ian Ramlal, School Supervisor 1 from the St. Patrick Education District, and Mr. Arundel Rupa, School Supervisor 1 also from the St. Patrick Education District. Mr. Ramlal will assist with the distribution of the trophies, and Mr. Rupa with the distribution of the certificates. In the Northeastern Education District, in 5th position, Aaron Lopez, Conoripo Presbyterian. In 4th position, LeBron Thakur Singh, Guayco Presbyterian. LeBron looks very similar to LeBron James. In 3rd position, Sabira Mohammed from Plum Road Presbyterian. Unfortunately, Sabira is unable to attend this morning. She's a bit under the weather, so we'll invite her principal to come forward and receive the award on her behalf. In 2nd position in Northeastern Education District, Sohail Gyan, Guayco Presbyterian. And in 1st position, the top performing student amongst Presbyterian primary schools in the Northeastern Education District, Aidan Sam, Conoripo Presbyterian. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramlal and Mr. Rupa. We move on to the presentation of awards in the Southeastern Education District. To assist with the distribution of these awards, I invite Mr. Ian Puntai, School Supervisor 1 in the Southeastern Education District, to assist with the distribution of trophies, and Ms. Donna Ramjon Khan, Retired School Supervisor 1, to present the distribution of certificates. I'd like to invite Ms. Wendy Gajada to fill in for us. Thank you. In 5th position in the Southeastern Education District amongst Presbyterian primary schools, Navina Lalji, Jordan Hill Presbyterian. In 4th position, Janelle Jackman, Princestown Presbyterian number 2. In 3rd position, Maria Rampasad, Princestown Presbyterian number 1. In 2nd position, Tristan Birbal, Princestown Presbyterian number 1. And the top performing student amongst Presbyterian primary schools in the Southeastern Education District, Nauki Siu, Princestown Presbyterian number 1. Thank you very much, Mr. Puntai. Thank you, Ms. Gajda. We move on to St. George East and Port of Spain and Environs Education District. And to assist with the presentation of these awards, I invite Dexter Rampasad, School Supervisor 1, to assist us with the presentation, and Mr. Derek Suknanan, School Supervisor 1. Mr. Rampasad will assist with the distribution of the trophies. Mr. Suknanan will assist with the distribution of the certificates. In 5th position, Anaya Mohammed, Tacarigua Presbyterian. In 4th position, Aurora Durga, Tunapuna Presbyterian. In 3rd position, Aria Samaru, Tacarigua Presbyterian. In 2nd position, Nia May, Curep Presbyterian. And our top performing student amongst Presbyterian primary schools in the St. George East and Port of Spain and Environs Education District, Bridget Lakraj, Tacarigua Presbyterian. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambasad and Mr. Suknanan. We move on to presentation of awards in the St. Patrick Education District. To assist with the distribution of these awards, I invite Mr. Alan Ramdin, School Supervisor 2 in the St. Patrick Education District, to assist with the distribution of trophies. And I invite Mrs. Zanifa Mohammed, School Supervisor 1 in the St. Patrick Education District, to assist with the distribution of certificates. In 5th position, Nathaniel Figaro, Superior Union Presbyterian School. In 4th position, Kimora Subnarine, Superior Road Presbyterian School. In 3rd position, Junaid Hussein, Rosilak Presbyterian. In 2nd position, and the tiniest of all our recipients, Caitlin Surajbali, Penal Rock Presbyterian. She looks as though she's still in standard 2. And the top student in the St. Patrick Education District amongst Presbyterian primary schools, Cameron Lochan, Faizabad Presbyterian. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramdeen, Mrs. Mohammed. At this time, we move on to our final education district, the Victoria Education District. To assist with the distribution of trophies, I invite Mr. Kenny Edwin, School Supervisor 2, and to assist with the distribution of certificates, Dr. Roydan Rampasad, School Supervisor 2. In 5th position in the Victoria Education District amongst Presbyterian primary schools, Matthew Lieben, Canaan Presbyterian. In fourth position, Zara Kutu, Grant Memorial Presbyterian. In third position, Kaden Sukram, Grant Memorial. In second position, Bridget Gopal, Picton Presbyterian. And in first position, the top performing student in the Victoria Education District amongst Presbyterian primary schools, S.E.A. Paul, Canaan Presbyterian.
We now move on to our special awards. As indicated earlier, the Primary Schools Board of Education each year will give to a number of students awards for overcoming challenges during their studies for the S.E.A. and their primary school career. We will not go into details of their challenges, just to give you a brief idea. Our first student had to deal with a situation where her mother was hospitalized just before S.E.A. and also had challenges throughout her primary school career. She battled anxiety while striving to balance her studies and also had the responsibility of caring for her mother. She eventually wrote her essay and passed her Saraswati Girls Hindu College. From Felicity Press, and before I make the announcement, I invite the moderator, Reverend Daniel Chance, Reverend Daniel Chance, to present the trophies, and I invite retired school supervisor, Ms. Donna Ramjan Khan, to assist us with the first 4 certificates. Our first awardee from Felicity Press, who attained a pass to Saraswati Girls Hindu College, Samaya Mohammed. Our second awardee had to contend with her socioeconomic conditions and at times in assisting her mother, who had to sell at the market, she had to babysit. She continued to excel during her school career and from Felicity Press also obtained a pass to Saraswati Girls Hindu College, Shalisa Dick. Our third awardee had the challenge of both her parents not being around due to traumatic circumstances. She lived with her grandparents and struggled through challenging circumstances. She eventually gained a place at Davie High School from Vista Bella Presbyterian School, Shania Stephen. our fourth awardee had to face the challenges of a serious medical condition. This young lady had to have blood transfusion every 3 to 4 weeks and to undergo various type of medical procedures. Yet, from Tacarigua Presbyterian, she gained a place at Bishop Anstey High School East, Joanna Braffett. Thank you very much, Ms. Donna. Reverend Chance, you will remain. I will invite the Treasurer of the Primary School Board of Education, Mr. Curtis C. Prasad, to assist us in presenting the certificates for the next 3 students. Our next awardee, despite her physical disability, was able to endure her primary school, persevere, and from Freeport Presbyterian was able to pass for Waterloo Secondary School, Andrea Springer. Another young student who persevered despite a serious medical condition that made daily school life a struggle for him, persevered and with resilience from Freeport Presbyterian, he gained a place at Couva East Secondary, Adam Williams. Our final awardee among our students who, despite special circumstances, excelled, this young lady went to school, and during her period in Standard 5, one of her Standard 5 teachers died tragically, and her other Standard 5 teacher also had to survive the trauma of losing her only son. Despite these traumatic circumstances for the students in this school, she was able to excel, placed first among all the students in the school, and from Waterloo Press gained a place at Naparima Girls High School, Zaraya Mohammed. Thank you, Reverend Chance and Mrs. Sripasad. I know you're anxious to hear the top 20 students, but let me take this opportunity to welcome to our function today Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. Wilson Henderson. Mr. Henderson had a busy morning, but I'll also invite him to come and bring greetings to us as the Deputy Permanent Secretary. Mr. Henderson.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Ramlal, Chairman. All protocols observed. I'm very happy to be here with my colleagues from the ministry. And I'm very also happy to see so many young, bright faces, the future of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to start with just a few words, and I won't be long, I promise. I want to say, succeed in spite of, and I want to speak directly to, we just heard about the numerous challenges by some of the young people, the young students. Succeed in spite of. These are some words that were shared with me by a friend, and I want to share those words with you now. And I want to tell you one thing, and I want to speak directly to all the young people here, and I'm talking about you students. I want you to aspire to be the best you can be, to do your best, and use education as the opportunity, as the key to unlock the opportunities in the future. I want to tell you, each and every one of you directly, you may not remember me in the future, but what you will remember is, I hope you remember, is these few words. My education in Trinidad and Tobago is where I am today. It's only because of education. I want to say that to you very directly. It is only because of education I am where I'm at today as leading the Ministry of Education. So, I want you to take education very seriously. Do not falter. Do not lose focus. If you want to be somewhere in wherever you go in this world, education will take you through those doors. And I want to encourage all you parents, all well-wishers, specially invited guests, and everyone present here to remind all of us, our children, we have to support them and give them the encouragement that they need throughout their lives. And it is with this focus, our colleagues work tirelessly at the Ministry of Education. I was just chatting with the Director of School Supervision, which you heard from him before, Mr. Ratton. We all work to support our children in schools, whether they're primary, secondary, and at tertiary. So I want to encourage you all to support us. We don't get a few things right. I know many of you are teachers here. You would attest to that. But generally, we try our best to ensure that education is delivered so that we could ensure that the future of Trinidad and Tobago is in very good hands. I would like to thank everyone here for inviting me, especially Mr. Ramlal, and all our colleagues. Thank you for having me. And I just want to encourage you and celebrate today all these special young people who have done their best and continue to excel no matter where they're placed. All right? I thank you, and I wish you a very good evening. May God bless us all.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson, our Deputy Permanent Secretary. I will tell you a little story. Since Mr. Henderson came in the Ministry of Education, I'm sure one name he knows quite well is Mr. Ramlal from the Presbyterian Board. He's our go-to person in the ministry, and I'm really happy today he's here with us. I invited him to go around and see our Presbyterian primary schools, and he will take us up on that offer today. And we're also very happy to have with us all our school supervisors and the Director of School Supervision and Management, Mr. Aaron Ramartan, who we always say is a product of our Presbyterian school system, former teacher, former principal in Presbyterian primary schools. We now move on to our top 20 awards. And these awards were based on the composite score that students scored in the S.E.A. I will invite Mr. Brendan Ramlal, who will do the first set of awards.
To assist with the presentation of these awards, I invite Mrs. Beverly Mahabir Charles, a member of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, to help us with the distribution of awards from 20th position to 16th position. Seems she's not here, so we invite Mr. Ernest Budu to assist with the presentation of these awards. In 20th position, Zachary Ramcharan, Exchange Presbyterian. In 19th position, Sanaya Mohammed, Grant Memorial Presbyterian. In 18th position, Rishan Rupchan, Grant Memorial Presbyterian. In 17th position, Anaya Marie Paramsuk, Exchange Presbyterian. In 16th position, Zara Jagai, Grant Memorial Presbyterian. Thank you very much, sir, for assisting us. To assist with the distribution of awards from 15th position to 11th position, I invite Mrs. Tara Siluch, member of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education. In 15th position, Liam Harinarayan, Kenan Presbyterian. In 14th position, Reese Ramuta, Warrenville Presbyterian. In 13th position, Nauki Siu, Princestown Presbyterian number 1. In 12th position, Araya Samaru, Tacarigua Presbyterian. In 11th position, Matthew Lieben, Canaan Presbyterian. Thank you very much, Mr. Siluch. To assist with the presentation of awards from 10th position to 6th position, I invite Mr. Abzal Akbar Ali, member of the Presbyterian Primary School Board of Education. So we're moving into the top 10. And again, you're reminded that these students are chosen based on their composite score they would have attained during the S.E.A exam. In 10th position, Zara Kutu, Grant Memorial. In the 9th position, Caleb Walton, Exchange Presbyterian. In 8th position, Kaden Sukram, Grant Memorial Presbyterian. In 7th position, Ethan Ali, Exchange Presbyterian. And in 6th position, Bridget Gopal, Picton Presbyterian. At this time, I invite Mr. Vikram Ramlal, Chairman of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, to take us into our top 5 and our top 3 schools.
To present awards to our top 5 students, I invite Mr. Wilson Henderson, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education. In 5th place, from QF Presbyterian, Nia Me. In 4th place, from Canaan Presbyterian, Messiah Paul. Our first, second, and third awardees, along with their trophies, will also receive a cash award. I invite Ms. Geeta Maharaj, General Secretary of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education, to give out the cash award. Mr. Henderson will give out the trophy. All right. In 3rd place, receiving a trophy and a cash award of $1,500, Sayara Bisnath, Exchange Presbyterian. In 2nd place, receiving a trophy and a cash prize of $2,500, Bridget Lacrage, Tacarigua Presbyterian. This week I saw the Mahasabha placed on the media their top 2 students who were 2 boys. This year, the top student in a Presbyterian primary school is also a boy. From among our 2,000 plus students who wrote the examination, our top student receiving a trophy and $4,000 cash, Liam Rajkumar, Freeport Presbyterian School. Thank you very much, Ms. Maharaj and Mr. Henderson. Our final set of awards. This year we decided that instead of giving just a top award for the top school, we'll give 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I want to invite the Director of School Supervision and Management, Mr. Aaron Ramatan, and the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, the Right Reverend Daniel Chance, to jointly hand out these trophies. It is the intention of the board to motivate our schools to excel. The 3rd place school will surprise many. It's a very small school from a rural area with less than 100 students. I think the enrollment is around 60 to 75. Based on the average weighted score performance of all students in that school, our 3rd place school, Kumuto Presbyterian from the Northeastern Education District. I will invite the acting principal to collect the trophy. And I also want to recognize in our audience the former principal of the school, Ms. Helen Lakiram, who retired earlier this year. I will invite her to come forward to join in the celebration and picture taking. Ainsley, way to take a picture with Ms. Lakiram. Ms. Lakiram was a principal at the school for many years, retired recently, so we want her to share in the success of the school. Thank you. Reverend Chance and Mr. You all remain. Right. In second, this should be no surprise to many, has always been one of our top performing schools, Canaan Presbyterian School. I invite the principal, Canaan is from the Victoria Education District. And our first place also will not be a surprise, has always been among our top performing schools. Top performing school, S.E.A. 2024, from the Caroni Education District, Exchange Presbyterian School. We have a challenge trophy and a replica for the school. Can Ms. Acting Vice Principal please come forward and assist in collecting the trophies? Ms. Colleen Moulton Singh, Acting Vice Principal at Exchange Presbyterian. Thank you very much, Mr. Amratan and Reverend Chance. Congratulations to all our students and all our schools. Let's give them all a hearty round of applause. Let me take this opportunity. I know we have a vote of thanks, but it will be remiss of me as chairman of the board if I don't say a special thanks to the members of the organizing committee for today's function. I want to especially thank the co-chairpersons, Mrs. Michelle Mahabir Das and Ms. Wendy Gajada, for the excellent work that they did, and the hard-working organizing committee. I also want to extend an invitation to all of you to join us for lunch. Lunch will be served across at the conference room. We have lunch for all children who are present, all adults, our specially invited guests. You will have your lunch downstairs in the conference room. So please don't leave without taking your lunch. I will now hand you over to our co-chairpersons.
In all things, we must give thanks. And at this point, I'd like to invite Ms. Donna Ramjohn Khan, retired school supervisor and a member of our S.E.A. 2024 Awards Committee member, as she brings to us our vote of thanks. Ms. Khan.
Our dynamic masters of ceremony, distinguished guests, sponsors, partners, and friends. Good afternoon, because it is indeed afternoon. Today we give thanks to God for being our compass and provider to make this event the success that it is. All honor and glory belong to you, O God. On behalf of the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education and the S.E.A. Award Organization Committee, I expressed our most sincere appreciation and gratitude. This event would not have been possible without the unwavering support, commitment, and generosity of our valued sponsors, partners, and everyone who contributed to making it a reality. We acknowledge our main sponsor of this event today, the Presbyterian Primary Schools Board of Education. We also recognize our esteemed sponsors, Jeans World and More Limited, Old Mac Limited, 2001 Carpet House Limited, Trans Brokerage Services Limited, CMAS, CPML Contractors, Ramsing's Sports World. Your trust in our vision and your generous contributions have been the motivating thrust of this event. Your partnership is indicative of your belief in our mission and objectives as a Presbyterian establishment. We truly value your contribution and the spirit of collaboration that you bring. To our specially invited guests, participants, speakers, and artists in our program, thank you for your support and your presence at this function today. To our organizing committee, partners, collaborators, thank you for your enthusiasm, hard work, and dedication. Your efforts behind the scenes, working tirelessly to ensure every detail is executed perfectly, have not gone unnoticed. We are grateful for your expertise, your ideas, and the passion you exuded to make this event a success. To our parents and our lovely awardees, thank you for being here. Your presence adds immense value, and we hope this event meets and exceeds your expectations. We appreciate your time, energy, and commitment, and we hope that you have found this experience both enriching and inspiring. Finally, to our exceptional chairpersons who guided us through the program with great efficiency and excellent elocution, a great thank you for a job well done. Once again, a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has contributed to the success of this event. We look forward to continuing our partnership and making even greater things happen together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan, for your expressions of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have come to the end of our S.E.A. Awards 2024 function. I would like to join Ms. Khan in thanking everyone for the contributions you have made to today's proceedings. Certainly, our program today was a resounding success because of your input. Students, just a message to you. As you continue on your educational journey, I ask that you open your arms to change, but hold steadfastly to the values which you were taught. Be excellent ambassadors of your respective schools. As you chart a new course, I remind you of that famous Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind always be at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face, and may God continue to hold you in the palm of his hand. I now invite the Right Reverend Daniel Chance, who would bless our meal and dismiss us in prayer.
Can we all stand, please? Let us unite our hearts in prayer. Most gracious, holy, and loving God, throughout our lives you have provided adequately for us. God, we recognize the love and care which our fathers and mothers, our grandparents, our siblings, God, on this day, our teachers, who have nurtured and fashioned the minds of many. Confer, O God, upon our sons and daughters your divine blessing. Continue, O God, to walk with us. And whenever we stumble, O God, you would lift and carry all of us. A meal has been prepared. We seek your blessing. Hear our prayer as you taught us to pray together. Our Father, blessings to all. Please be seated, and we will proceed on my left for lunch.
Okay, two quick announcements before we forward next door to the Grant Building. I'd like to ask Liam Rajkumar, Bridget Lakraj, and Sierra Bisnath to please meet with Miss Gajda at the front. She's standing right there at the award table. And I'd also like to please ask all of our S.E.A 2024 awardees to gather at the front with your trophies, with your awards, as we'd like to have one group photo. Okay, thank you.
Mom is